Actually, yeah, right? Because like the DeLorean, like if you're gonna time travel, might as well do it in style.
He is the redneck Doc Brown. That's such a good point.
Hello and welcome to Maybe Review with you with Nick and Joe. I'm Joe.
And I'm Nick. Welcome back, everyone. Today is the conclusion of our time travel draft. About 2 years ago, Joe and I set out on this journey. We each drafted multiple time travel movies in a multitude of categories. And today we are talking about the final film, Safety Not Guaranteed, which was drafted in the Pick the Unpicked category. This is Joe's pick.
This was a bit of a bonus category of like if you could, after we concluded our time travel draft, if you could jump back in time and grab another movie, what would it be? And this was mine, Safety Not Guaranteed. This was a romantic comedy that was introduced to me by a friend a long time ago. Who this friend loves rom-coms. Not always my speed, but like this one did rub me the right way when I first watched it. It's a Colin Trevor film. It stars Aubrey Plaza. My goodness, Aubrey Plaza, Mark Duplass, who I've only known from The League. I've never really seen Mark in anything else. It was a very different character from what he plays in The League. And then Jake Johnson, who, man, this is probably his scummiest movie.
Yeah, good old Jake Johnson. A little bit of Nick Miller, New Girl vibes in it,
Yeah,
of course.
a little bit.
You know, I feel like he has that vibe a little bit in anything he does, which is, you know, awesome because I think we love him for that. But really fun cast, I think, overall. First of all, I think, is it your turn to do a summary before we really get going?
I was dreading this because, like, I'm not sure. I think it might be. I think it's my turn to do the 15-second summary. So,
Hell yeah.
You know what? Since we're unsure, let's just do it. I don't mind doing two in a row. Did I do well last time? I don't remember. I'm gonna assume I aced it. I don't think I did. I think it was actually my worst one last time, which means we can only go up.
Love it. All right. Well, without further ado, I mean, Joe, this movie's only an hour and a half long. So if you can't do a 15-second summary on a movie that you picked, you're a hopeless case. So I have full confidence that you are going to do poorly on this 15-second summary.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
A post-grad woman who is nostalgic for the past meets a man who insists that he's building a time travel machine. She goes undercover to try and do news about him and falls in love with him. And eventually, at the end, they travel back in time.
Well, you
I
took
think I
your
nailed
time
it.
there. You took your time there. You
nailed it. Smooth sailing in the end.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give you a B. I think it was decent. Mostly.
What plot point did I miss? What's the plot point I missed?
The fact that it's not actually a time travel movie, despite it being marketed as one. But
it most certainly is a time travel movie, and I will absolutely argue that. We'll see.
We'll see about that. This is the least time travel movie we've talked about. Except
I would disagree. I would.
Except for maybe, and the funny part is, my choice also in the same category, Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland, maybe probably not actually a time travel film. This one, definitely not a time travel film, but we'll get to it.
I would love to hear your argument on that, but okay, let's talk about the movie.
Very simple argument, Joe.
Let's talk about the film. So Nick, this is my second time watching Safety Not Guaranteed. As I had mentioned before, a friend introduced this to me. This is your first time, so I'd love to hear your experience watching this movie. It sounds like it was a bit not necessarily a good time for you.
No, I enjoyed the film. I think it's a fun rom-com. It's not a rom-com that I probably would watch again. I think I'm kind of like you. Like, I'm not a huge rom-com movie fan. There are a handful that are so good that I will rewatch, and they're fun every now and then. This is not one I would put in that.
I need to know what's the best rom-com for you.
Crazy Stupid Love, probably.
All right, yeah, cool. All right, I'm right there with you. It's Crazy Stupid Love.
Hilarious. It actually probably should have a different name because like I think that rom-com specifically is for guys. Like it's a fun guy rom-com. And when you hear the title, it makes you not want to watch it. So
Or yeah, because it
but
has a very live, laugh, love vibe to it.
right. But that's probably like the top for me, right, of a rom-com. And this one was good. It was fun. I really did enjoy it. Again, I probably wouldn't watch it a second time, but I think I was 50, 60 minutes into the movie. The movie's only an hour and a half, which this is a plus for the film. They don't make hour and a half rom-coms anymore. Like, or even movies in general.
It's
like,
rare. Yeah, I was gonna say it's rare to get an hour and a half movie.
It's awesome because if you're looking for like you want to watch a movie and you don't want to watch a TV show and you have an hour and a half, like this is a great option to put on because it is enjoyable and it really, I mean, it's short, which is great. But like, 60 minutes into the film, I'm like, I thought this was a time travel movie. They've only talked about time travel. I haven't even seen a time travel device. Like, I don't think they're actually going to time travel at all in this film. I don't think we're going to have it happen at all. And you know what? I don't think I'm wrong about that, Joe. There's a thing at the very end. There's a thing at the very end where they just disappear, but I don't know, like, how do we know they didn't, like, die? Like, it's not time travel. They have to come back.
But we do know that there was we do. All right, this isn't The Prestige, okay? You don't need to see The Prestige at the end. The bunny rabbit or the flower doesn't need to come back. It's not
it's a
it's
time
not magic.
travel movie.
It's
you have
science.
To come back or go somewhere if it's called travel.
We do know. But
it's
we know
called travel.
Yeah, it's a one-way trip. What do you want from me?
It's only a one-way trip if you know that the trip gets you somewhere.
But we do know that it worked. The movie goes out of its way. The movie goes out of its way to tell us that the time travel works. Because remember, it's not all one line.
Are you talking about his
all right,
his love interest?
Let's talk about the plot. Yeah, let's talk about the plot, and then we'll get into this, all right? So, the plot of the movie revolves around Aubrey Plaza's character, who is pretty jaded with life. She lost her mom at a very young age, and she holds herself responsible for this, which is unreasonable, but it's easy to see how a child would do this, right? She asks her mom, who's driving home, to buy her chocolate milk, and while the mom is on the road, there's a car accident, she dies, and she feels guilty that the last conversation they had, she wasn't even happy that the chocolate milk was on its way. So this is an emotional scar that the character carries with her. Right. She, as is with all rom-coms, she works in some kind of media. It's not marketing for once. It's magazines, which, like, I shouldn't say for once. If it's not marketing, it's magazines. It almost always is. For some reason, this is like the go-to rom-com job. So she's an intern. She's working with Jake Johnson, who's probably the worst journalist I have ever seen depicted in any movie or TV show. The dude doesn't do I shouldn't say he doesn't do any journalism. He does barely any journalism, and he's just trying to like sleep his way through the assignment. Absolutely wild. But in any case, so they find this guy who is looking for a partner to time travel with. He puts an ad in the classifieds, I think, which, like, the dude is concerned that the government is chasing him, and he's committed actual crimes in trying to get the technology and the chemicals that he needs in order to build what it is that he claims that he is building. So I think it's wild that he just puts an ad in the classified. It's just publicly like, hey, I'm building a time machine. Seems like this guy's very easy to track down, considering a sleazebag journalist and an intern found him, right? I will say that there are parts of this movie that, like, you must suspend your disbelief for. That's one of them for me. Actually, everything that has to do with the government makes me roll my eyes. Like, I wish the government was not involved in this movie, like, whatsoever. They have the cringiest moment at the very end.
Yeah, and it brings up, like, part of me is like, I don't even know if they really were with the government, like, because you don't get.
That's a good point.
They're just being followed. Like, there's really not proof that they're actually with the government, except that, like, everyone.
For all we know, that they're. right. For all we know, they're journalists. They're other journalists in cloaks, in
Yeah,
coats.
like,
That's it.
or like they just
Or
also saw his
they
ad
actually,
and they're, I,
I take that back. They do talk to them at one point. The
yeah,
our
but
two
they
main
assume
characters,
that,
they do talk.
yeah, but they assume that they're with the government. Like I don't think they announced that they're with a particular outfit
I think
of the
they
government.
said something of like we're conducting an investigation, so, something
Right.
like that.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's very loose and weird, and they're strange. Like part of the issue with the not issue with the movie, but part of the weird part about the movie is like the characters are all kind of strange, and something feels kind of weird and off the whole time, especially with the government characters. And
yes, I
then
agree.
Kenneth, the the guy who's invented the time travel device, like he's definitely got some screws loose. Like he's not completely like sane, although potentially brilliant because the movie does give you a lot of details on like, oh, it looks like he did actually like invent time travel, and there's a lot of like sketches and schematics about how to build a machine and then all these things. But the government officials, I agree, could have done without that. And it's I feel like at the end, which we don't have to go there now, but at the end it feels like they kind of just disappeared after the boat disappears. It's like, where did the government guys go? Um, I don't know.
Well, like
It's
they are there at the end. They're there, and again, this for me is like the cringiest part of the film. I'm I guess just like skipping to the end here. No, I don't want to skip to the end. Sorry, there's some important stuff that we should
yeah,
like
yeah,
cross off
yeah,
here.
yeah, that's fair.
So as we mentioned, our intern and our journalist, they're trying to do a story on this guy who is supposedly building time travel, and basically Darius, Aubrey Plaza's character, she decides, or the team decides that she should go in undercover and try and get this guy's trust. So she's going to offer herself as like the partner to go back in time, and in doing so, in the classic like, uh, I didn't tell you everything sort of rom-com deal.
Sure.
She she lies her way into this guy's life, but she ends up having this like very genuine connection with him, and they end up falling in love, of course. Um, I will say, on the rom here, I'm unclear as to what the age difference is supposed to be between these two characters. And like, I maybe it doesn't matter, but like, I don't know. Mark Duplass seems like he's a lot older than Aubrey Plaza. Maybe he isn't, but like he definitely seems like he is.
Yeah, he does seem a little older. I didn't have that thought. I think it's a non-issue, but um, I think Mark Duplass just looks older, and he's just an older looking guy in general, so it doesn't help. But and the mullet
Definitely.
that he had, or whatever the hairdo he had, didn't do him any favors. He clearly, I think he's probably meant to look a little older, more so on the stressed out side, because he's just been like running from the government and trying to create a time travel device and go back a second time, right? So, but I don't think it's like a huge deal there.
Yeah. They the two of them do actually commit a crime together, where they
Right.
rob some kind of heavily guarded facility for
Well,
technology that like I don't think heavily guarded actually might be a bit of a stretch.
thank you. Yeah, definitely a stretch. Like
Yeah,
the people having a party just like follow him out. Like no one tries to stop him. This is
right.
hilarious.
Which is a point against whether or not he is actually building time travel, because they don't seem all that concerned with what he has stolen.
Yeah. Well, to the movie's credit, like in this case, I didn't think that place didn't strike me as a place to where like they knew that they had technology that could help with time travel. To me, it was more like there was a certain couple of pieces of equipment he needed that he knows will help with time travel, but like that particular business or building wasn't like, oh, we're building time travel devices here. This is crazy. We need even more top notch security. It was more just like a secondary thing, Like I don't think the devices helped him invent time travel, but like that business did not know that those devices were that powerful or could be used for
Mm.
that, in my opinion. So I don't think, for me, it was like, okay, that I could get why it might not have crazy security. Um, it felt weird to me that they decided to. The thing that bothered me more was that like what he didn't realize that there was a zillion cars in the parking lot at that time when there normally isn't, when there's a party going on, like an end of year party
Right.
going on or something. So, but to me, it was like the movie is just giving you an extra, slightly suspenseful, funny moment instead of him just like running from a couple security guards, which there
Mm.
was really only one security guard that he locked away. So, um, yeah, that was my take, at least on that part.
As you know, well, we both are. We're Back to the Future people. We love that movie. We love that series. And while I will make fun of the time travel of that movie, of that series, because I don't think it ages well in the grand scheme of looking at time travel movies, right? The movie is great for so many reasons, and one of them is, Doc Brown needs, like, in order to like get his time travel going, he needs access to like chemicals and technology. I think that movie does such a better job of quickly explaining how he has all this stuff, and he's like, I made deals with terrorists,
Right.
like
Right.
real quick, right? And like, that becomes part of the plot of the movie, and like, honestly, that's like one of like the more believable parts of the movie.
Right.
Whereas like this with like the government facilities, is like, what? This is weird and dumb.
Yeah,
um
for sure.
uh
And I I will say, I really want to talk about like the rules that come up throughout the movie. Um, do you have more plot stuff you want to discuss?
just one more, and I will now accept the B that you gave me for the 15-second summary, because this actually is critical to the plot, and I did not mention it. So we keep talking about how this guy is building time travel, and the woman, Darius, Aubrey Plaza's character, is going undercover to get access to whatever it is that this guy is up to. A critical like point of this movie, though, is whether this dude is insane or not. We are led to believe that this character is off his rocker, and that eventually there's a part of the film that the film really goes out of the way to like really paint this guy as like not being forthcoming, and actually probably being not only insane but maybe even dangerous.
Right.
Um, so we learn that Kenneth, Mark Duplass' character, um, his mission, the reason why he wants to go back in time, is because there was a woman that he loved, and she died. Also in a car accident, but a much more violent one, I would argue. She was in her living room, and a driver comes barreling through the living room while he wasn't there, and she dies. Right. Well, it is later revealed. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say with a
Yeah, go ahead.
caveat of that's his version of the story.
Sure, sure, sure. I was just about to point out, later revealed that the woman that he's in love with is still alive, um, and played by Kristen Bell,
Yeah.
which was, I did not remember that. I was like,
Right.
"Hello, Kristen Bell, you're in
Nice
this
surprise.
movie."
Nice surprise. Kristen Bell makes an appearance. Always a good time.
Yeah, I'm honestly like, I was surprised to see her in this film, because like at this point, Aubrey Plaza had not really blown up the way that she has now. Um, so most of the people in this film, I would say, like, were still like kind of early in their career. Kristen Bell most certainly was not. Kristen
Right.
Bell was like already pretty famous by this point, so I'm kind
Yeah.
of amazed that this movie was able to get her.
Yeah.
um but yeah, Kristen Bell shows up, and she reveals that she was never in a relationship with this guy. She knew that he liked her, but she was with somebody else. And the driver who comes barreling through the living room was Kenneth. Uh, so yeah, this adds a lot of doubt to Kenneth's character, and the whole time travel process in and of itself.
Right.
But again, we'll get into that. The last thing I want to get into, Nick, before well, actually, you know what? I'll hang on to that point
Okay.
until we start talking about time travel. Nick, you want to talk about rules? Lay
Yeah.
it on me.
So, really, and please correct me if I'm wrong. The only rule that I actually wrote down is don't use knowledge of the future to change things. Was
Oh
really
wow, I didn't catch that.
that was really the only rule that is like expressed um explicitly, like explicitly, excuse me. So don't use knowledge of the future to change things. This is a rule Kenneth gives Darius when they're like sitting in the diner, like I don't know, halfway through or three quarters
So
of
this
the way
is
through.
like well before they have like their emotional. confessions to each other about why
Correct.
they
Yeah,
want to go to
this
the
is
past.
before
Okay.
they both realize they've told each other slightly. They both essentially lied to each other one way or another. This is before that, but this is like, but that's really the only rule. There's a rule later where like he tells her the cipher to send messages, which
Right.
is 44314, and then in reverse to send it back. But that part's not really I don't think that's not really a time travel rule. That's just something to know. But really the only rule I wrote down was that don't use knowledge of the future to change things. This brings up a bunch of questions though.
Right. It's a contradiction to what he wants to do.
Right, because like basically, if that's the case, then he is disobeying his own rules if he wants to go back and save his girlfriend from dying. The
Hmm.
other issue is that when at the end of the film, when they start, when the realization is that they both lied to each other in one way, right? Like he lied about the ex-girlfriend being dead, and Aubrey like was hiding the fact, not Aubrey, excuse me, Darius was hiding the fact that she was also working with the journalists. But when Darius tells him that his ex-girlfriend's alive, he has this moment where he's like, no, that means it worked. That means the time travel worked. And then he's like, it's not like exact, like time is, weird, or it has its own like mind or whatever. And to his credit, at the beginning of the film, when he's working at the grocery store and talking to his buddy, he's like explaining how he's like been talking online to all of these like quantum mechanics or quantum physicists about time travel and all these things. And he's saying that, time isn't linear. It's like a V, basically. Like there's two routes and there's multiple ways, And so that moment paired with the whole realization later that he thinks that his girlfriend being alive means that he was successful in the time travel already, even though he hasn't done it yet, is kind of the movie's way of like giving you the ambiguity to decide for yourself if they actually pull it off or not.
I will say in that moment, in the moment, like retroactively, yes, I agree with you.
Yeah,
After the movie is done, when you revisit that moment, yeah, that's kind of the conclusion, or not conclusion, but that's kind of how you can look at that scene as far
sure.
as like which way do you want to believe him.
Right.
When that scene is playing out, the movie, I think through the eyes of Aubrey Plaza, through Darius, wants you to feel like this dude's insane.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. 100%. And before we find like the moment before uh um Jake Johnson's character, whose name I'm forgetting,
Jeff.
Before Jeff tells Darius that she's alive, I thought that the movie was going to say that, oh, Kenneth is the one that killed her. And then this movie was going to get dark in that area where it was just like, oh, wait, she's now fallen in love with a murderer. I honestly thought the movie was going to go there. And then it was just like,
What
oh,
an
no,
Aubrey Plaza thing to happen.
right. It's like, oh, no, she's alive. It's like, okay, all right, never mind. But very, but in that moment, like you said, you immediately you're like, this guy is absolutely insane. He made up a story about her being dead instead of just accepting the rejection, you know? And then, yeah, but only one rule. And unless there was another that you thought of or that you
No, honestly, I wouldn't. That was one more rule than I was paying attention to. And honestly, it's amazing that the movie gives you that rule, because I would say that's actually a point against the writing of this film. Because he seems very rule oriented, right?
right,
Like he has his code. He being Kenneth, right? So for him to have this rule about time travel, but like it contradicts like his actual mission.
right.
I need a little bit more explanation on that. Like, is it that he was told this rule, or like this is a rule that like has like been concluded by physicists, but it's only theoretical? And despite the fact that it's theoretical, like he's gonna like try his luck trying to save this woman that he loves, right?
But
I don't know.
in the movie,
I need more there.
in that scene, like he basically says, you can't use it to like, get rich or whatever. Like he uses it like nonchalantly, like something basic like that.
Hmm.
But it doesn't matter how you use it, right? Like he is clearly disobeying his own setup rule by wanting to go back in time to change the future, quite literally. So, well, he's changing the past, but in turn changing the future. So, like, he is doing the opposite of what his own soul rule is,
Right.
which, like, in the realm of time travel scores for the time travel draft, very poor because he's disobeying his own clear set one rule. But we'll get to that later.
One rule.
Right, like the one rule to not rule them all, dude. The other thing, and it's not really a rule, but it's something that he says, and this has to do with like the old broken down truck that is in the woods, that inside the truck there is this tin box, and this is like where you go to send messages back to the future, right? Where it's like, you're in the past, you come here, you place a note in this tin box if something goes wrong. And if something goes wrong in the future, you'll open the tin box and you'll see a note. That way you can go back and change what went wrong, which again is almost disobeying his own one setup rule about don't change things. Don't use your knowledge of the future to change things. Because you get in this weird like time travel thing where it's like, well, if there was a note in there about something going wrong in the past, it's already happened. So at what moment are you changing the future again? It gets, my head's hurting.
I would also point out like this plot element is like, I think I get what they're going for with this plot element. I found it a little disappointing, and I think there was a better use for it. So like they introduced that, and there's a moment later where Aubrey Plaza is very like very emotional over the fact that she's in love with this guy, but like he's clearly insane. And she runs the truck, almost like in this desperate effort to grab the box, right? And like hope to see something in there, right? And there's nothing in there. And like again, we are painting this imagery of like, this dude's insane, right? He's been lying about everything. So like I get that's what they were going for. I wish they had used this differently. Like I wish that she did find something in there, right? But it's not clear. Like it almost like makes it more ambiguous. Like let's say hypothetically there is a note in there, right? It's a note, and it says something like it worked or something like that, right?
Right.
But like it's a receipt from like 2 days ago, right? Like it even has a date on it. It's like, well, this is from 2 days ago, but like his argument would be like, yeah, but look at the writing, like it's a certain penning that like only could have been used from like this time period, like something to like make this like questionable, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like because like this plot element almost feels like a throwaway to me, you know?
Yeah, it definitely does. I agree with you. I wish they would have done more with that, because that's where you can actually get into the whole, okay, they did time travel, there's proof.
Right.
Whereas the movie
did they or didn't they?
Right. Whereas I think the movie wants you to believe that because there isn't a note, nothing went wrong. Because the only time he introduces
that's true.
The only time he introduces that is like, use this if something goes wrong. And since there's not a note in there, Darius sees that there's not a note towards the end when she knows the next place she's going is the time travel device. And so she doesn't see a note in her head, nothing went wrong, which is crazy because like the time travel could have totally gone wrong. They could just have disintegrated.
End up in the middle of space,
they could be gone. They could be dead. And the fact that the movie doesn't actually show us what happens to them after the device is used leaves it so open that you don't even actually know if they time traveled.
So I'm all right. So we're at the end here. So the ending of the movie is we arrive at Kenneth's garage, which is it's very Doc Brown coded, extremely Doc Brown coded. He's got time travel stuff all over the place. The only thing he's missing is like the miniature models that Doc Brown loves to build.
Yeah,
that's the only thing he's missing.
Poor man's Doc Brown.
Yeah, for sure. He's like the redneck Doc Brown. But I actually yeah, right? Because like the DeLorean, like if you're gonna time travel, might as well do it in style.
He is the redneck Doc Brown. That's such a good point.
It's like he makes like what is it like what do you call that, the airboats? Like he makes like an airboat time travel machine.
Insane. It looks insane.
It does look insane. There's no style to this whatsoever. So like we arrive in the garage and
wait. It even has the safe unsafe keys. Like it's so redneck, dude.
I didn't even realize like how much they were going for like the Doc Brown imagery until this moment.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, no, just we see that he has all these schematics and he has all this insane technology like inside the garage, which has been locked throughout most of the film, and suddenly this adds a little bit of credence to what Kenneth's been talking about. Aubrey Plaza goes running into the forest looking for the location of wherever the the time machine is. She finds it. Kenneth's standing there in his redneck airboat DeLorean, right? Ready to time travel, and he's got some crazy spinning technology going on there that looks otherworldly. He says, "Come with me. I'm not going back for me anymore. I'm going back for you." And she decides to jump on the boat, and our other characters watch. Some of them are heroically fist pumping into the air, very rom-com style. And then the time machine blasts off into light, and we do not see the characters anymore.
So you just said something. You just said something that made me reconsider it even further. When Kenneth tells her, "I'm not going back for me anymore. I'm going back for you."
Right.
So that means he is crazy, and he never did go back to save his ex-girlfriend
in the first place.
I
want to get to that. I do want to get to that because like this is either a contradiction or it's bad writing. We will get to that.
Jesus, it could be both, man.
it could be both. It could be both. I'm willing to accept that. So, all right. So yeah, we are at the end. There is, as Nick points out, there is no time travel until questionably the end. And I want to throw my pitch out here for why I do think that this is absolutely time travel. Okay.
Please.
All right. So similarly to a film that we have also reviewed earlier in this time travel draft, Donnie Darko, we do not see any time travel actually happen until the very end of the film, but we don't actually get to see where it is that they go. There is a bit of a leap of faith here toward the end, which I think is extremely important for what this film is trying to say. And I think you already see where I'm going with this. So in this movie, we get three characters who are crazy nostalgic for the past, right? We have Kenneth, we have Darius. We know why. We know that both of those characters want to save loved ones, or they want to go back to a happier time where they have those loved ones in their lives, right? The character we haven't spent a lot of time here with is Jake. Jake, Jeff, Jake Johnson's character, right? So I think he's actually the standout actor in this movie, even though his character is a huge scumbag. I think he's doing a great job in adding what little charisma you can give this character. This character is the high school jock that longs for the days of old, for the glory days, right? He wants to, the only reason why he's doing this assignment is so he can be in the same town as a girl that he used to really like, who was super hot in high school, and he wants to bang her. And like he finds some kind of joy in that, right? But he's nostalgic for it. He's a little disappointed when he finds her, but he gives it a chance, and he falls over head over heels for her really fast, right? And so much so he wants to like bring her back home with him. However, this character has also been harmed by the past, harmed by love. We're going to come back to that theme, harmed by love, right? And she can't do it. She can't revisit that past, right? She's not even willing to take the leap with Jake Johnson, right? And this shatters Jake Johnson, right? And he moves forward and he takes what he's learned from this and he passes it on to the Ute, right? Okay, fast forward. So we are back at the dock where Kenneth is saying to Darius, like, I'm not going back for me anymore. I'm going back for you. And Darius is hesitant because everything up until this moment has painted Kenneth as an insane person. And maybe he actually is insane. But she still likes this person, like this human that she has made this connection with. And maybe not all of it is real, but she knows that there was some kind of a real connection there. So she decides to take a leap of faith. Not just in the idea of maybe this isn't time travel, maybe this won't get me back to the past, but I am going to take a leap of faith in this person I have fallen in love with. So she jumps from the dock, an actual leap of faith, onto a time travel machine that may or may not work, and then they disappear. So I think the time travel itself, while we don't get to see them actually like go back and do it, and I do agree with you, it does feel like a ball buster to not actually see it. I think like that's the metaphor that they are going for, right? You don't know where you're going to land with this person. You are taking a leap of faith, and maybe it'll work out, but your safety is not guaranteed.
Great. Okay, I'll give you that. That was a great explanation, and I can see the reasons for coming up with that. It makes sense. But the issue at the end of the day, this is so much more implied time travel than Donnie Darko. The Donnie Darko and this are very different.
It really is.
Okay, this leap of faith most likely ended up in death. Okay, this is crazy. Like this is not a time travel movie. This is the idea of a time travel movie. This is not a complete film. It ends with a leap of faith. Sure. But if this is a time travel movie, they have to travel somewhere else in time. They don't have to come back, but they have to show us that they've traveled somewhere else in time. And all this movie does is contradict itself the whole time and disobeys its own rule throughout the whole film. The whole film, it disobeys its own one rule that it set. This is not time travel.
I cannot argue against that. Yeah, it's I actually did not remember that, and like that's actually kind of embarrassing. Again, like if like I think you can have the contradiction, right? If it's some kind of like emotional stake, but then then it's on the onus of the movie to explain the contradiction, or at least like imply the contradiction, like a reason for it, right? But it doesn't do that. So like I agree, that's bad writing. I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, it's just has one rule, disobeys the one rule pretty much the whole time, and then doesn't even give you time travel at the end. Like I'm pretty sure that he is insane. Doesn't mean he's not brilliant. Plenty of brilliant people are crazy, right? So he definitely invented some sort of device because they fucking disappeared. But there is no resolve. There's nothing. There is nothing after that. The movie just rolls credits. So it's not time travel. Until you show us that you've actually traveled somewhere to another time period, even if it was just an hour before, then okay. But nothing. The movie could have ended with them showing up in that same location, and it would have been time travel, but it's not, and they didn't. So
if our boy Christopher Nolan was here, I believe he would say that the answer is love.
Yeah, well, you know what? Christopher Nolan wouldn't write a film like this, so we're moving on.
He most certainly would not. we would have a whole nother hour of exposition involved with a lot more Hans Zimmer.
And, the movie even tells us that they want to travel to 2001. So, like, they could have, like, if they wanted, I will give you that they wanted to leave it open with the whole leap of faith thing. So the audience is supposed to take a leap of faith that they did time travel and they, in fact, went back. But the problem is that the movie just contradicts its own rules the whole time. So like, even if you take that leap of faith, at the end of the day, you're like, okay, well, the rules that it set up were broken immediately. So like, whatever. I will give it that, like, they gave us a equivalent time travel device of the character building it, right? Like Redneck Doc Brown is a fantastic conclusion. And the device is exactly that. It's an airboat, like, and it looks insane, just like the guy who invented it. So that's hilarious.
Honestly, it does look insane. I think it looks freaking awesome though. The second you see that spinning thing, you're like, whoa, maybe this guy wasn't full of it.
But the ridiculous part is, like, it's got the spinning thing, but it still has a propeller at the end of it, which the propeller was pointless.
Right, which, like, what does that do?
I thought they were going to actually need to use speed, kind of like it. They could have done it like the DeLorean, where you have to speed and actually be driving on the water. Yeah. They didn't do that. It just disappears at the dock. I'm like, what?
Which, like, to his point, like if that is actually how it worked, right? You have to gain speed in the boat. This is such a smarter way of doing this than the DeLorean, because remember, the problem with the DeLorean is you have no idea where you're going to end up, and you might hit something. In fact, it almost always does.
Right.
Whereas, like, if you're on the water, like, well, you're probably just gonna still be on the water. Right.
Yeah, most likely.
Right, exactly. Like, right. That's a lot smarter.
Yeah.
But again, that's not what it does.
Right. And we don't get any explanation on the device, or like what exactly is making it go right. Like with the DeLorean and Back to the Future, the flux capacitor is like the important thing, right? Like here, we
Right,
don't have
right.
an explanation necessarily. Like we see one of the devices that he steals in the movie, and he puts that on there at the very end. So we are to assume that this is like the most important piece, but it's only the most important piece because it's the last piece of the puzzle. But we don't have an explanation for exactly how it all works. We have one rule that gets
Right.
disobeyed.
It's sort of
So
it's sort of like this MacGuffin because like there is like importance like laid down on it when when they steal the box, right?
right,
And she says what's in there, and he doesn't directly answer it, and then later when the supposedly the government shows up and Jake Johnson asks like, hey, so like what did he steal, and they don't directly answer it.
right.
So it is a little strange that like yeah they it does feel like this is supposed to be our flux capacitor, but it never gets a name. It's just this big mystery thing
Yeah.
until you see it, and you're like, all right, I guess maybe it's time travel. I don't know. I don't know
Right.
what else that thing does.
Right. So anyway, I don't have much else to say on that whole front.
No, I don't either, except to to your credit about the contradictions. Retroactively, when you look back at this movie and you find out Kristen Bell is alive, I think that is I will say maybe it is a point in the direction of that this man was not full of it, right? I will say like I don't think he ever directly lies to her ever. Which doesn't necessarily mean he didn't lie, but I think it is a point toward his character, right? Um that being said though, the line at the end where he says, I'm not going back for me anymore, I'm going back for you, I think that does like make it very confusing then. It's like, well, did he save her or is he crazy? Like at this point, I feel like the movie needs to stop being ambiguous.
Yeah.
Right? Because like it's about to do something very ambiguous, right? Where it just disappears.
Yeah.
I think it needs to stop being ambiguous with its lines, and like it won't. It doesn't. And it's like, I'm trying to make my own conclusions here, movie, but you're not letting me go one way or the other.
It didn't. The movie didn't obey its own rules, and it makes it extremely confusing, and it makes it hard for you to take that leap of faith at the end, which is why I'm on the side of
with the film, right?
Like they did not time travel at the end because we don't have proof, and the leap
of faith
killed
them.
The leap of faith doesn't hit because they contradicted it multiple times leading up to it, unfortunately for the film in and of itself. Yeah, they're just they
murder suicide.
They're gone. Yeah, they're dead.
Oh, it's like Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's redneck sci-fi Romeo and Juliet.
There we go. We figured it out. Unbelievable.
All right, so we have arrived at the end of our podcast here, where we are going to talk about the scores really quick here, and the way that we've been doing our time travel reviews is we rate this in 3 different categories. We rate this within how well did it do within the category, which in this particular, I think we can actually axe this particular scoring because these are just bonus points.
This is a bonus.
So does the film obey its rules? And then we score, of course, how well the movie did. Let's start with obeying its rules because I think we both already have a conclusion on this one. Nick, you lay it on me.
Yeah, this movie does not obey its one rule, which is, don't use the knowledge of the future to change the past. This movie pretty much wants to do that the whole time, and that's the whole reason for even inventing time travel, which means it is completely contradicting itself and disobeying its own rules, so it gets a 0 for the obeying its own rules category.
I believe the score is 1 through 5.
Okay, fine. It gets a 1.
It had rules, and it didn't obey them. Yeah, I will also give this a 1. I actually wasn't even aware that there were rules. Like, I don't even remember him talking about the one rule.
That's hilarious.
Which really goes to show you, like, how important that even was for the film, which it clearly wasn't. So, yeah, definitely a 1. Yeah, okay. As far as the film goes, like, as far as, like, watching it, I think I give it, like, a 3.5. Like, it's pretty enjoyable. There are some big plot holes in it. I think what I was most worried about with revisiting a rom-com from like 2011 is how cringy rom-coms are built on cringiness, right? But some of that cringe really marinates over time and gets extra cringy. And for me, there was really only one part of the movie that I really could not watch, and unfortunately it was the end, where they're about to blast off on the boat, and it's the classic rom-com move where like everyone on the sidelines is like cheering for the couple, right? Which is Jake Johnson's role. He's fist pumping into the air, but then the government agents are there, and like for me, they totally ruined this. Like they're just there, they're just like like they just look stupid as hell. I'm not sure why they're there.
You know what? They're
they
more like
nothing.
aliens. Maybe they accidentally went to the future, and those governments are aliens from the future.
All right, new theory. That's them. They are the government agents back from the past or the future, and like it went horribly wrong. Safety was not guaranteed. Yeah. Kenneth ended up as a black guy. Aubrey Plaza's a white man. Like it went bad. Like that's why they're trying to stop them. They're trying to stop them so that doesn't happen to them. That's got to be it. You know what? It was a time travel movie. They were time travelers. I based that on evidence.
You know what? I'd actually be. I'd apply to the thought that the government officials were actually time travelers and they were trying to stop Darius and Kenneth from time traveling, because when they do, they change like the world and something goes wrong, and like those two government officials are actually not government officials. They're just like time travelers trying to like save whatever place they're from, because they're so strange. They're almost like they're like cartoony. They're like the robots in Tomorrowland that are like chasing after they're like they're the robots basically from the other dimension that are like chasing them. Like, it's like a strange like cartoony vibe. Anyway, whatever.
For some reason they come off more cartoonish than the actual time travel designer. I agree. It's
anyway,
odd.
That's
that's
a review. Do you have the scores for everything?
I do. And we can discuss that really quick. So I actually don't even need to like tabulate this any further. Like, given actually, what was your score on this movie?
Oh, I don't think I gave it. You're right. 3.2.
Yeah, I don't think you did.
3.2.
3.2. Okay, yeah, that doesn't change much. So to go back to our films really quick. So as a reminder, as Nick said, this has been a project that we've been doing for about 2 years now, which is absolutely crazy. We started at around this time 2 years ago. It was January 2 years ago is when we started. So like, there you go, full circle, baby. Whoop whoop. And as a reminder for the categories that we did Stuck in the Loop with 12 Monkeys and Harry Potter. We did Time Travel Romance with About Time, which I hate you for choosing that film. That movie's so good. Groundhog Day in Time Travel Romance. We did the classic time travel with Back to the Future and Terminator 2. Superhero time travel with Donnie Darko and X-Men Days of Future Past. Comedy and time travel, Midnight in Paris, and Avengers Endgame. Secret time travel, which was the time travel was a surprise in the movie, which was Interstellar and Arrival. This was our favorite category easily. And then of course picked the unpicked at the end here with Safety Not Guaranteed and then Tomorrowland. The winner by a landslide was Nick in his time travel draft, which I think your lowest.
Thank you.
Your lowest was pick the unpicked, which was Tomorrowland, which we were both like, maybe this isn't a time travel movie.
Maybe this isn't time travel at all.
like time is discussed a lot in that movie, but yeah, it's
not
it really doesn't really happen as far as travel goes. It is arguable whether or not it happens in Safety Not Guaranteed.
Maybe.
But our films that did the best on this draft were Interstellar, Terminator 2, let's see here, Arrival, of course.
Yeah.
Midnight in Paris did a lot better than I was expecting it to.
Yeah, for a time travel movie, that movie does a really good job.
Yeah,
of setting up rules.
That's a better rom-com than Safety Not Guaranteed.
Yeah, Midnight in Paris is phenomenal. That's a phenomenal
movie. I love that movie so much. I'm gonna go watch Midnight in Paris again tonight.
And it really sets up its own rules really well and pretty much obeys them, and then also gives you it's a good movie. Yeah, it's a good time. That's like That's like if you want a peak time travel film, that's good. That's a good example of
Yeah.
anyway, cool.
Nick, in these films, some of these films we were revisiting, some of them were new to us. What was your favorite film to explore during this time travel draft, or what was like surprising for you to explore?
Um, Man, that's a great question. I think honestly, 12 Monkeys for multiple
Hell
reasons.
yeah.
Like
Hell yeah. I'm so glad this is the answer.
I had never seen 12 Monkeys until this draft, and of all the time travel movies we went over, that one still has the most question marks. And coincidentally, it's our most viewed video from the time travel draft. Like, and we'll link it in the show notes, the 8-minute video about like the ending explained of 12 Monkeys, which is very open-ended, depending on who you are, and has a lot of controversy online still, even to this day, even with it being like basically 20 years old. So that was extremely fun to explore, and really kind of thinking it's really probably the only movie that leaves such a big question at the end, like on what happens and what effects time has. And every time you watch it, you get something different, which is also something that is like implied midway through the film. So yeah, and it's so controversial that we're actually doing a follow-up to it. And that's actually our next video, is a follow-up to our 12 Monkeys ending explained video.
Very
And
excited about that.
We've deep dived on the script and some of the source material. And so we'll get into that in our next video. But what about you, Joe? What's your most surprising or top one from the draft?
So maybe it's not that surprising, but I think the revisiting this film, the one that had the biggest effect on me was Interstellar. I knew that this movie was great. Like I remembered that, but I've only ever seen it one time before because I never wanted to rewatch it because of like how emotionally devastating it is. But in rewatching it, I think not only is it one of like the better time travel films, or time dilation films, whatever you want to say about that. Well, I guess there is time travel at the end. I think it's honestly one of Nolan's best films. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I had that opinion before. Like going back, like, man, did he do his due diligence? And like, I know some people have a problem with the vehicle at the end with like love. But in rewatching that movie is airtight.
Yeah.
Especially like using the vehicle of love. Like, if you're really paying attention to what they're saying at the end, like it works with, whether you're disappointed about whether or not that works within like the realm of science, it works in the narrative of the film incredibly well.
Yeah.
So I'd say in revisiting that, I did not remember how well that works. So I would say that was my biggest surprise. Back to the Future, I could rewatch Back to the Future all day, and I'm glad that it was on this draft.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I picked it.
There you go.
It was probably one of my favorite movies I picked.
There you go. I love it. Yeah. Hell of a draft. Great conclusion.
Yeah, congratulations on winning the time travel draft, sir. I actually thought I was going to dominate you with this.
Thank you. Nope. To the victor. I appreciate it. It was fun. And we're going to continue doing time travel movies because we both love them so much. So that'll kind of be one of the things we do when there's like, just kind of in between maybe major releases or other things that we're like discussing and talking about. So with that in mind, our next video is going to be a follow-up to the 12 Monkeys ending explained video from a couple years ago. We've gone through a lot of source material and watched some other Terry Gilliam movies, as well as watched the inspiration for this film from the writers, which we'll get into that in the video. But that's the next thing we're going to do. In the meantime, please like and subscribe here on YouTube, where you can follow along with everything we're talking about. You can find us on Threads as well. And until next time, friends,
may the review be with you.
Peace.